Good evening, everyone. Okay, good. A lively bunch. Welcome back from Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone had a blessed holiday. Welcome to today's full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. Today's date is Tuesday, November 28th. It is approximately 6:45 p.m. My name is Xavier Santiago. I'm the chair of CB11. This meeting is officially called to order. Tonight, we are joined by our district manager, Angel Muscane, assistant district manager, Khalid Nixon, and community associate, Marlene Pierre. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, we're going to have to observe a few ground rules. So, first, one, no one may speak until granted the floor. Two, CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. You should not engage in back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Members attending via Zoom can raise their hand. Use the raise hand button by first clicking the participants icon to access the panel where the button is located. If you have any technical issues, please relay your difficulty to the staff in the chat. The chat should not be used to discuss or pose questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public, you can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and providing their name, affiliation, and the topic of their comments. A link to the registration form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. Registration for the public session will close at 7:15. With that, we will now take attendance.
Good evening, everyone. Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo. April Autry. Mark Bogowski. Adem Briha. Jahai Chowdhury, Karim Koser, Devon Cronchow, beautiful, Kenneth Crouch, here. Carlos Diaz, here. Rosa Diaz, present. Angela Donadell, Jessica Elliott, present. Judith Febrero, present. Raha Flores, Brandon Gillespie, David Giordano, present. John Green, yeah. Annie Hansen, Wanda Hopkins, Christina Johnson, present. Jewel Jones, present. Sharon Lynch, Beverly McFarlane, Giselle Malave, present. Sage Mason, present. Malik McCullough is excused, Jennifer Mayer, present. Alicia Miranda, Jessica Morris, here. Nilsa Orama, here. Beverly Pabon, present. Claudia Perez, Asha Rodriguez, Eugene Rodriguez, present. Don Sanders, Xavier Santiago, present. Isaac Scott, present. Russell Schuler, present. Loretta Sau, Vinny Torres, Ana Marie Vasquez, Jason Villanueva, Candy Vivas Vasquez, Michelle Wilshire Clement, me, I am here, Jordan Wright, and Jason Wu.
With that, it seems we have a quorum. Next, adoption of the agenda. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted on our website's meetings calendar. If there are no objections, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom, or in this room, you may raise your hand. Wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, tonight's meeting agenda is officially adopted. Moving on, we have our pre-registered speakers. A few ground rules for those wishing to speak. You, one, must sign up to give testimony providing your name and affiliation. Two, you will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Our recommendation is take 2 minutes to speak and 1 minute for questions. Three, you should address your testimony to the board, not the public. Four, you should speak clearly and into the microphone. And five, you should be prepared to respond to board members' questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Board members should only ask clarifying questions. Commentary will not be entertained. And with that, has anyone signed up to speak in our public session?
Yes. First register, not elected register, is Ruth Menden from Foxborough.
Yes, Ruth Menden. She in Zoom or? Ruth Menden. She is not present. Next on our list. Dr. Connor Bracey. Dr. Connor Bracey. Okay. See you. All right.
Hello.
Hi, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Hello, all. My name is Dr. Connor Bracey. I'm a resident physician at Metropolitan Hospital Center, specializing in psychiatry. I'm also a hospital delegate for my union, the Committee of Interns and Residents. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak today on behalf of the 3,000 resident physicians and fellows working in the New York City Health and Hospital System, which is the largest municipal hospital system in the country. We have been bargaining with the city for a fair contract since August and actually have our next contract negotiation meeting within the next hour. I would like to speak with you all today about our fight for fair pay and benefits and why it matters for the health of our community. Resident physicians are often the first and the main doctor patients see when they come to a hospital. We work up to 80 hours a week on pay that in many cases barely exceeds minimum wage when accounting for the number of hours we work. We work hard to provide quality care to everyone who comes through the hospital doors, regardless of whether they have insurance or what their immigration status is. That mission means the world to us. We're fighting for a fair contract so we can continue to provide the highest quality of care to this community we've grown to love. Right now, we're struggling to get by as our pay continues to fall further and further behind rent and inflation. Many residents live paycheck to paycheck and are facing further financial pressures from student loan debt. Many resident physicians are commuting across the city or even across state lines at times after 24-hour shifts because they can't afford to rent close to the hospital. Many residents with children struggle to afford childcare expenses like daycare, which are necessary given our lengthy shifts. Many of my co-residents arrived to New York from halfway across the world to do their residency at Metropolitan and now are barely scraping by. Meanwhile, in our negotiations with health and hospitals, they told us that they can only offer a 3% salary increase, which would place H&H residents on average $5,000 below residents at other similar safety net hospitals in the city. All the while, we're already well below residents that work in private hospital systems. Because resident physicians are really at the center of patient care at our city's public hospital system, ensuring that we are supported, well, and rested is so critical to community health. The working class communities of color and recent immigrant communities that rely on the hospitals like Metropolitan deserve the very best care and the very best physicians. Fair pay will also help to ensure that H&H continues to remain attractive to talented and passionate physicians, including those who speak our patients' languages and who can provide the highest quality of care rooted in health equity. As our negotiations with the city continue, we will need all the support we can get to win fair wages and benefits that represent a true investment in our city's healthcare workers and the communities we serve. We believe that if the board were to write a letter of support to the New York City Council, it would be tremendously impactful during our contract negotiations. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight, and I hope we can count on you for support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from our board members? Yes, Michelle Wiltshire-Clement, you're recognized.
Hi, Dr. Connor.
Turn your mic on, please.
Hello, Dr. Connor.
Hello.
Hi, I wanted to find out, you said that negotiations were going to be happening within the hour?
Yes, correct. We began the negotiations in August And we have another meeting with the city, with the health and hospitals contract negotiation team in the next hour here. Yes.
So my question is, when would you need this letter of support?
Well, we expect this process will continue on for at least several more months, although I cannot anticipate. It doesn't necessarily need to be done at this very moment, but at any point during our contract negotiation period, it would be tremendously helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Connor. I would recommend presenting to our Human Services Committee for request a letter of support, and then that would come before the full body. They meet in December.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Trevor Alexander from HRA NYC.
Yes, good afternoon, folks. I'm Trevor Alexander from the HRA Outreach Program. I teach the public about
You have
child
3
support.
minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, got you. Again, I'm Trevor Alexander from HRA's Child Support Program, Office of Child Support Services in New York. And we teach the public about child support because what's unknown is causing crushing hardship for the fathers and families. And for the community of East Harlem, we just want to remind all the service providers out there that if you're trying to put any of the fathers in the community back to work, you probably want to refer them back to me first so we can clear up some of the child support problems that before they get that first paycheck. It'll make a big impact on them and their families. There's a lot of things going on that we have to correct, and there's only 3 outreach specialists for 750,000 cases. But if I reach into a community, like my own community of East Harlem, and let them know that anybody that has the back to work programs or anything like that, please refer the fathers to me at 646-916-0915. That's 646-916-0915. I'm going to put that in the chat. And what happens is that you, as fathers come up and they bring up any fatherhood challenges, if you refer them to me, because I have my city phone with me always, even when I travel out of this country, I receive my calls and I take care of my fathers and refer them on to the resources that can bring out the best outcomes for themselves and their families. That's good enough for me. Thank you, folks.
Thank you for presenting. Do we have any questions from our board members? Yes, Beverly Pavone, and then Christina Johnson. Your question. Repeat the question, are your services also offered to women who have to give child support?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, for both whoever, whether it's male or female, that has to either receive child support or has to pay child support, they both need our help because the mistakes that they're making are significantly consequential, and it's come from a place of ignorance, and we're trying to resolve that. That's the biggest thing we need to take care of in our community. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Beverly. Christina Johnson, your question.
It's not really a question, and Mr. Alexander. Could you please repeat your phone number again? You said it really twice.
Could you repeat your phone number one more time slowly?
Absolutely. 646-916-0915. Now, I must say that I spend a lot of my time in correctional facilities, which means my phone's in custody. But as soon as I come out, I pick up on all my texts and my missed messages, and I call back and I take care of my fathers and my families. But yes, that's the correct number.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're going to move the agenda along. And board members, if you have a question, I'm going to ask, just because we're recording, if you could just come up to the mic to ask your question, please. There is also one in the back as well. All right. With that, we have Cheryl Richardson, Common Justice and Fair Access to Victim Compensation.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you all hear me?
You have 3 minutes. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. My name is Cheryl Richardson, Assistant Director at Common Justice. Tonight, I am here to talk about the Fair Access to Victim Compensation with the board and ask for your support to getting Governor Hochul to sign this into law with a letter of support to her this December. Victim compensation are funds that are used to reimburse survivors for costs associated with harm, like hospital bills, burial expenses, temporary housing, door lock changes. And these funds are distributed through New York State's Office of Victim Services, and they're super crucial in helping survivors regain stability in the aftermath of experiencing violence. Unfortunately, many survivors are facing barriers to accessing this fund, such as the reporting requirement to report harm to police, unrealistic filing time limits, bureaucracy's lack of public awareness, and more. And so what FAVC, which is Fair Access to Victim Compensation, aims to address are these barriers exactly so that more survivors can access these funds they need to heal. What this particular bill would do is remove the police reporting requirement by expanding the type of evidence survivors may use to show the Office of Victim Services that a crime has occurred. It would also change the amount of time that a survivor can file a claim from 1 year to 3 years, and change the amount of time that is required to report the crime to proper authorities from 1 week to a reasonable time. We understand that every survivor has a different story, situation, and not all survivors are not monolithic to the experiences in which they have. And so last year this was successfully passed in the Assembly. This year we got it passed in both the Senate and the Assembly. And we are in our final days of the crucial point of getting Governor Hochul to sign this act into law. And so we're calling upon our community boards, victim service providers, and folks to write letters of support in favor of this particular bill. So I ask that you all consider this and would be happy to email further information to help you all support that. Thank you for your time.
Any questions from our board members? So, yeah.
This sounds really important, and I'm glad that it's passed in the Assembly and the Senate. I'm wondering, is there any reason we should expect any problem in Governor Hochul signing it?
No, not necessarily. Like, we're in a good position. We're hearing it's something she doesn't want to veto. So there's just conversations. I think it's more important that the public continues to become aware of it. And that they know that, the cusp of this bill is obviously the barriers were related to police reporting and the time frame. We're not hearing that those things necessarily need to change, but we do want to make sure we continue to amplify the voices of survivors, which is why we are having it's more of an awareness rally in front of her office next Thursday at 10 a.m. to really just continue to let her know, like, we're aware, we know, we want you to know that this is important. But as of now, can't really speak to the discrepancies around it, but just want to make sure that as many people know about it and are continuing to uplift it, because I'm sure we all know a lot of people that could benefit from this funds.
Thank you. All right. Moving along, we have Jean Kita. Jean Kita.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon.
Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Janae. I am a resident of Assembly District 71, and I'm here to talk to the board about the Assembly Bill A061987, and also ask for your support on that bill. So, and the reason for that is because the United States has one of the highest poverty rates compared to other developed countries. And in 2021, our states, New York State, was the 11th states with the highest national child poverty rates. And poverty affects Black and Hispanic Latino children and children in multi-racial families than other children. So when we look at child poverty rates in Community District 68, it's actually almost double the national child poverty rate. So it is really high in the Community District 68 compared to, let's say, District 71 or District 62, right? And the reason why this is an important issue is that child poverty has long-term consequences on the health and wellness of children. It can affect, cause developmental delays, stress, and nutritional deficit, right? There is also research that has shown that children who live in poverty are more likely to remain in poverty as adults. So very important issue to address and support here. So there's this bill that was introduced back in April of this year to the Assembly. So currently the bill was referred to the Social Service Committee for review and vote. So basically this bill will provide income to families who are below the 200% of the poverty line. And with the increasing cost of childcare and living, food cost for necessities like food, it's been very difficult for low-income families to survive. So I'm here to ask for the board to support this bill. Thank you so much for your time. That'll be that for me. Thank you.
Any questions from our board members? Yes, Jessica Elliott.
Thank you for your statement. I was just curious if you could reconfirm the number of the bill.
That would be Bill A061987, the Mothers and Infant Lasting Change Allowance Bill.
Okay. Thank you. And with that, we would recommend presenting to our Human Services Committee or Executive Committee in this case, before coming back to the full body. Thank you. Denise Carell.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening,
All right,
esteemed
you have 3
members
minutes.
okay. Good evening, esteemed members of the Community Board 11, Manhattan. My name is Dinesh Pakure. I am a student pursuing a master's degree at CUNY. I am here to address a matter of utmost importance, the fight against unhealthy food marketing, particularly in childhood obesity. False or misleading food products advertisement threaten public health and consumer trust. Bill A04424B aims to protect children from false or misleading advertisements by junk food companies, addressing the adverse effect of such marketing practices on children's health and aiming to regulate and restrict them. It is concerned with the adverse effects of such marketing practices on children's health and aims to regulate and restrict them. The bill also acknowledges that children are vulnerable population and that marketing unhealthy foods to them persistently is misleading and inconsistent with the state's effort to promote public health. The current policy bill S7487C, introduced in December 2021, while commendable, it focuses on nutritional education and physical activity, falls short in countering the overpowering noise of unhealthy food marketing. It is in this context that I wholeheartedly endorse the introduction number A4424B 2023, which is in New York State Assembly. This proposed legislation emphasizes the critical role of education in promoting locally grown foods. By collaborating with the Department of Agriculture and Markets, we aim to make nutritious options such as dairy, fruits, and vegetables more accessible to our communities. The bill sets clear restrictions on marketing through social media, acknowledging its significant influence on unhealthy food trends and its adverse effect on youth. In conclusion, I urge the esteemed members of Community Board 11 to support and endorse introduction number A4424B. By doing so, we take a significant step towards safeguarding the health and well-being of our children, ensuring they are equipped with the knowledge and access to make healthier choices. Thank you for your time, attention, and dedication to the well-being of our community. The enactment of this bill can have profound positive impact on children's life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from our board members? Seeing no hands raised, thank you very much for presenting. And without further ado, we'll move on to our last publicly registered speaker, Midge Caparosa from Teen Town Hall. Who's got with Children's Aid. They're going to give us a quick presentation. So yes, you can come up to the mic right over here and talk about the work that you've been doing.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak to you at tonight's Community Board 11 meeting. We would like to thank you all for coming together. Okay. We would like to thank you all for coming together to discuss important matters in regards to gun violence in our community. So, inviting us to be on your agenda today brings us hope that our topic is as much of a priority for all of you as it is for the children and teens who live in this neighborhood. Hello, my name is Amir, and this is Emily, Michael, Brandon, and Celine. We are team leaders from Children's Aid here in East Harlem. And we'd like to let you know about a project we've been working on since May, when we got together with our peers to talk about an issue of gun violence, and how growing up in a community where sounds of gunshots and news of killings feel like an accepted part of everyday life. That's just the way it is, most kids say. Nothing we can do about it.
Firearms are the #1 cause of death among children and teens in the US. We dug deep into researching gun violence in East Harlem between 2003 and 2023 and found over 43 incidents. Almost all of the victims were people 25 and under. Most of them were killed. Many of the shooters were around the same age. 2 of the murdered teens had been members of Children's Aid sites, as was one of the shooters who is now in prison for life.
Many times we get alerts on Citizens app and get texts from friends 5 blocks away. And you may have also seen police sirens and ambulance lights that look like they're heading towards maybe Park Avenue. We hear the shots, we hear the name and age of each victim and the perpetrator on the news, and read quotes from their grieving loved ones. This one wanted to go to college, her father said. That one was a gifted ball player, cried a grandmother. The next one was always kind to everyone, making everyone laugh. His neighbor remembered, is it too much to ask to grow up in a community where we're not afraid of the safety of our friends and family members? For ourselves, we don't think so. After collecting information and data, we mapped out all of East Harlem's incidents we can find with bullet-shaped pushpins so we can visualize what was happening and where. We have begun to create portraits of some of the people we've lost due to gun violence, trying to raise awareness about what's going on around us, to help people visualize the situation. And everyone's talking about it, but not necessarily coming together to talk about how everyone feels about it. That's where we come in. We are planning a teen town hall meeting to create a space where youth can exchange thoughts and ideas around gun violence and brainstorm ways to make positive change in this community. We believe that youth voice can play an important role in making our community a safer place, and we are committed to involving as many young people as we can to start the wave of demanding a safer community. As Representative John Lewis said, never ever be afraid to make some noise and get into good trouble, necessary trouble. So, we hope you all can spread the word about our event, take flyers, and encourage both youth and adults from all over the city to take short surveys with the QR code on the bottom right-hand corner. We will have a panel of speakers, a QA session, and refreshments for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from our board members? Yes, Nelson.
Oh yeah. On December 15th from 5 to 7 p.m., that's a Friday next month, we will have it at PS 72, 104th Street and Lexington Avenue.
Yes, Michelle, and then your question?
That was my question.
Nina, you had a question? Thank you for the plug, Nina. Appreciate it. We do have public members, so keep that in mind. And thank you for a lovely presentation and trying to be part of the cure. Appreciate that. One more round for them. Thank you. Okay. With that, that concludes our publicly registered speakers. We're now going to move on to our local elected officials. We ask that the elected officials or their representation or representatives complete the registration form if they wish to give a report. A link to the form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. We ask that any event or service literature be sent to our office. We may post and share it as is appropriate. Please keep your report to 3 minutes and be mindful not to repeat what others have already mentioned. Again, 2 minutes to speak and then 1 minute for questions. And first up, we have Sophie Secor from Senator Serrano's office. Yep. Either mic is fine.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a good holiday. So we've been pretty busy at the district office. The center just awarded this year's Veteran of Distinction for our district, which was Hector Montez, and we had that ceremony at the Corsi Older Adult Center here in East Harlem. We just also had a free shred event. I know we had a lot of calls about people who missed the free shred event. We're going to have another one. We don't have a date yet, but we will make sure to pass it along to you guys so that nobody misses it next time. As we gear up for the winter season, we have become one of the drop-off locations for the New York Cares Winter Coat Drive. And we are looking for people to come, drop off coats, as long as they're, in good condition, so that we can make sure everybody is warm for the upcoming winter. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can come by our office and drop off some donations. As usual, if you have any other concerns, you could always come by the district office also. We're also going to be having some offsite constituent service hours in East Harlem coming up, which is basically when our team comes out, just to make it more accessible for everybody all over the district. Those dates will be coming out at the end of the week, so keep a lookout for that. And as always, please reach out with any concerns you have. Our team's always available to help. And if you have any immediate things you'd like to talk to me about, I'll be right up there. You can come up and say hello. Thanks.
Any questions from our board members? Okay, thank you so much. Next, we have Teresa Hassler from Sarah Clare's office.
Hi, good evening. My name is Teresa in the Office of State Senator Cordell Clear. Wanted to first of all just talk about a couple of things that have happened, I think, since I was on the last meeting. November 14th, the senator held a social isolation event at the Kennedy Senior Center in Harlem. As you know, she is the chair of the senior aging committee in the Senate. She had NYSOFA, the State Department of Aging, at that event to do a presentation. She had seniors there to talk about isolation. She also gave away animatronic pets to seniors to keep them from feeling so isolated, especially going into the holiday season. 2 days later, on November 16th, Governor Hochul signed into law the New York Clean Slate Act, which Senator Clear was a co-sponsor. That act actually will allow for the sealing of criminal records for persons if you've committed a misdemeanor or been convicted of a misdemeanor and have served time, if that was applicable, and have finished with probation. Then up to 3 years after that, you can have your record sealed. Similarly, if you've been convicted of a felony and you have served the time that's been allotted and completed your probation or parole, if 8 years have passed, then you are eligible to have your conviction sealed. Again, that's not the same as expunged, it is sealed. However, there's exception for people who've been convicted of sexual sex offender crimes, along with certain other violent felonies. We have a couple of upcoming events for the holidays. On December 9th, the senator will be at the Old Broadway Synagogue in West Harlem, celebrating the third night of Hanukkah. There'll be a concert there, and of course, Hanukkah service. That's going to be December 9th, Saturday, December 9th, at 7:30 at the Old Broadway Synagogue in Harlem. On December 12th, there's going to be a state office building round robin holiday event sponsored by Senator Clear, along with Assemblymember Inez Dickens, Congressman El Girano Espaillat, our newly elected council member Yusuf Salam, Assemblymember Al Taylor, and Attorney General Letitia James. Their offices will be open the evening, that's Tuesday evening, December 12th, at the Harlem State Office Building at 163 West 125th Street from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So people can come, open to the public, go from office to office, enjoy food and music and getting to meet your local elected officials. And
Thank
that's
you.
all I have for now.
Wonderful. Any questions? Yes, Eugene.
I'm sorry, I can't hear because I'm the person's in the audience.
I think, go ahead, Eugene, unless you want, yeah.
Is the senator aware of Senator Serrano's bill creating cultural districts across the state, and does she support said bill?
All right, to repeat the question from Eugene Rodriguez, is Senator Claire aware of the bill from Senator Serrano to declare cultural districts across the state, and is she supportive? The two-part question.
I'm certain she's aware of it. They serve together as colleagues in the Senate. I cannot at this time say whether or not she supports it, but I'd be more than happy to leave my information, and you can call me tomorrow or email me at the office or come into the office in person. I'd be more than happy to discuss it with you. I'm at the State Office Building, 163 West 125th Street. We're on the 9th floor, room 912. The phone number, if you want to call me, it's 212-222-7315. My name is Teresa Hassler. I am the District Director and the Chief Counsel for Senator Clear. So feel free to call or make an appointment, or you can, if you can come by. We have an open door policy. If I'm available, I'll be more than happy to speak with you about any things.
Thank you, Teresa. I'm going to move our agenda along. Thank you very much for being with us in this space. Next up is Evelyn Colado from New York City Comptroller's Office. You have your 3 minutes. Thank you,
Hello,
Evelyn.
good
Welcome.
evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. As Nina has signaled, I'm the Manhattan Borough Director for the Office of New York City Comptroller Brett Lander. And tonight I have a few announcements, a few updates, but mainly I want to invite you to come over the website and look at an audit report that we finished last month on fair share. I know that this is a topic that is important to District 11. Our office audit found that fair share is badly broken and that the city has failed to meet its obligations under the city charter. We have collected information not just on shelters and social services locations, but also any type of city provided service, whether it's police, fire department, parks, or sanitation. So we are more than happy to come by and present on these findings. I believe I already been in touch with Angel about bringing the audit team to present to the board. Another update that I'd like to point out to you is also added to the audit report on fair share. We also released a geospatial map that illustrate visually how fair share works throughout the New York City. So the other thing is we released the capital projects tracker alongside City Hall, and basically it provides a view into the city's construction projects. critical infrastructure such as bridges and sewer sanitations and sanitation and buildings. And users can go and look up information based on community board districts as well. Then you can get detail on the status of these different projects. There are so many other, reports that we have put out today. The comptroller was in Washington, D.C. He has some labor rights meetings and events, but he was also meeting with the federal administration on the migrant question. We want help from Washington in getting our migrant population to more speedily be, absorbed into the city life. And that will be it.
Thank you. Any questions from our board members? Jessica Morris, you're recognized. Yes, you can.
Hello, thank you. I'm aware that the board has an item on the agenda later with regard to an action that would support legislation to advance emergency work permits. I'm not sure that the board will pass what we have on the agenda tonight, but it's something that we've discussed in committee going forward. Is there any, my understanding is that emergency action is needed, that there's too much time as a lag. Is there anything specifically that language or actions that we can urge various levels of government to take that would echo or support what Comptroller Lander is advocating for at the city level? Thank you.
Sure. I mean, one of the priorities for Comptroller Bratlander is to make sure that migrants get expedited work permits. Anything that can be done in support of, expediting the process of getting migrants situated in the city will be appreciated. And I can also connect you with our policy team. So that, if there are any other conversations about how to support legislation and resolutions and the like.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next, Nina.
Yes, my email is ecolad@comptroller.nyc.gov, and my number is 929-545-0262. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the nudge. With that, we're going to move to Tiffany Brown from the mayor's office. And if you all would be so kind as to give your contact information at the upfront, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening, CB12. Thank you for having me.
11.
I'm so sorry. 11. That's how tired I am. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna start again. Good evening, CB11.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me. Like it was announced, I am Tiffany Brown, the Manhattan Borough Director for Community Affairs in the Mayor's Office. And I just have one announcement that I want to bring to you guys tonight. The mayor has a lot of concerns and a lot of concerns and wants to hear the concerns of the community and his constituents on the east side. So he will be hosting a town hall meeting December 4th at, hold on, I don't have my glasses, but I'm gonna read, at Central Park East High School, 1573 Madison Avenue. The town hall is from 6 to 8:30, but it's recommended, the doors will be open at 5:45. I recommend that you come early so that you can get you a seat and so that you can get entry. Once the gymnasium is packed, we will have to turn people away. So I ask that you come early so that you can express the issues and the concerns and the quality of life concerns that you have going on the east side, okay? And for those of you who do not have my contact information, that is brown@cityhall.nyc.gov. My cell phone number, I answer 24/7, 347-939-3984. And for anyone that's in the room presently right now, please see me. I'll be in the back. I can give you a card. But that's, for all of you who are not here tonight. Once again, I'll give my number, 347-939-3984. And I look forward to seeing everyone at the town hall, December 4th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please arrive. I would say come at 5:30. Okay?
Thank you. And we have a question from Nilsa.
Hi. Yes, well, right. So what the mayor is doing, if that does happen, he is circling back. He is going in every community. And so far he's hosted Washington Heights, Central Harlem. He's coming to East Harlem. He's done the Lower West Side. And if it's needed that he needs to come back to East Harlem, he will. But also for those, I'm gonna just put it in the universe. Everyone is gonna get it, okay? It can be standing room. My last town hall that we did on the west side, it was standing room only. It's just, we had a lot of people. When we do these town halls, we look for spaces that can hold up to 300 people. The last town that I did on the west side was over 300 people, but mostly everyone got in. So that's why I'm advising people, please come as early as possible. I know, people may get off work a little late, but if you can get there early, get there early. Okay, and if it's needed that he needs to double back and he needs to do another town hall, that can be another discussion. But also, you have my contact information for any issues or concerns that need to be taken back to City Hall. That's why I'm here.
And Tiffany is very responsive, by the way.
Yes, I am.
So I'm going to get the two board member questions. I'm going to move us along, Sage, and then I think Eugene. Go ahead, Sage.
Mhm. Yes. I can't speak to that, but what you can do is come to the town hall and you can ask that question. You can pose that question yourself to him.
Okay. Eugene, you had your hand raised?
One of the issues of my concern is the media function. The Hispanic Federation and you all know who you are. How will they do it? I'd just like to alert you.
Okay. Let's talk after this and we can connect and I'll follow up for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. One last question, Beverly.
Okay, so how the town hall is set up, he brings all of the agencies. He brings all of the top heads. The way the tables is set up is 10 people to a table. You pose one question, right? But also on the table for anyone who has personal questions or personal issues, there's an intake card. You fill that intake card out and within 2 to 3 weeks, you will be getting a response with any question that you put on that card. The agencies come to these town halls because they're addressing and answering your questions right there on the spot.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for the question. All right. Thank you very much, Tiffany. Anyone who else has questions, they can talk with her outside. Next, we have some of our district leaders attending. Nina Saxon, you have your three. And then Tamika, and then William Smith.
Good evening, Community Board 11. How is everyone doing?
Doing well.
Y'all can do better than that. How is everyone doing?
Doing well.
So my name is Nina Saxon. I'm the district leader for the 68th District Part A. And all I want people to know is that there is a lot of issues going on in the district around helping the asylum seekers. I actually witnessed it myself in the train station on 103rd. You know, like they don't have slippers, I mean, they don't have shoes, coats. And I think for us to be good neighbors, that if we can probably partner with the community board and probably with the Councilwoman Diana Ayala to try to help out our particular district. Another issue that I want to bring to the community board is about lighting. There's different areas around, especially around the NYCHA housing developments that are really dim. And I'm asking for Community Board 11 to do an assessment plan of lighting around the districts with pertaining to the NYCHA housing development. I know that there's a meeting that's happening on Friday here that Community Board 11 is actually going to be partnering with. And I just want to say thank you for letting tenant leaders be a part of that conversation. But if there's a way that a special committee can be formed to talk about safety tips around like lighting and how that we can just look through the district, making sure that certain areas is lit and not dim, that'll be truly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Board members, any questions for Nina? All right, seeing none, thank you so much for being here with us. Next is Tamika Mapp.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's Tamika Mapp, District Leader for the 60th Assembly District, Part D, State Committee Woman for the 60th Assembly District. Phone number is 347-523-4410, tmap@cc68ad.com, www.ehcfgg.info is where all my events is held. December 2nd, we're going to be talking about in my housing committee, tax abatements for co-ops and condo owners, and to get ready for our rally, which is taking place December 5th, to save NYCHA houses from the rat pack and the trust and the reservations. November 30th at 7 p.m., I am prepping people who want to go to the DNC. How to correctly get on the ballot, and what that ballot looks like is no guarantee once you do the petitions, the whole process. So I'll be going over that November 30th and December 3rd, November 30th at 7, December 3rd at 2 o'clock. I have a legislative meeting on December 18th at 7 o'clock. We're going to be talking about open air drug use that's in our community and how we're going to talk to our elected officials of how to curb that. December 16th, I have Winter Wishes. You can go to Eventbrite. I still have opening for 1 to 10-year-olds to get a gift. And we're going to do some arts and craft and come to community together. Then my general meeting for my club is December 18th at 7 o'clock. I hope to see everybody there and have some participations. Any questions? Yes.
Any board, Sage?
Yes, 347-523-4410. My phone do turn off at 10 o'clock because I am a wife and a mother. Okay?
Copy that. Thank you very much. All right. With that, that concludes all of our elected official reports. We'll now move on to our borough president's report. And oh, wait, hold on. Oh, no, sorry, you're correct. I have Will Smith, and then I have Elsie Encarnacion, who I saw in here. Will Smith, come on.
Hello, CB11. Thank you, Xavier. Metropolitan Hospitals Community Advisory Board will be hosting naloxone training on Thursday, November 30th at 5:30 at the hospital, 1901 First Avenue, room 1B35. The training will be presented by New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports. Topics to be addressed: the New York State 911, review of Good Samaritan laws, overdose risk factors, recognizing and responding to an overdose, and also the administration of naloxone and reporting its use. More than 3,000 New Yorkers died of drug overdoses in 2022. For more information, please feel free to reach out to Jenny Schobel. Her email is jennyschobel@gmail.com. Also, Metropolitan will be hosting a blood drive on Wednesday, December 13th from 10:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the Mental Health Building, 11th floor gymnasium. I'm also going to have Jewel Jones, our vice chair, give a report.
I just like to remind everybody that Metropolitan has a Pride Center. Actually, it was the first Pride Center of Health and Hospitals, opened some years ago. It is located at the first floor of on the Second Avenue entrance at 1901 First Avenue. And for more information, 212-423-7292. And I just want to add that, as you are aware, Carlos Diaz is your liaison at the CAB, and I'm just the first vice chair.
Thank you, Jewel. If anyone would like to get in touch with me, my email is smith4nys@gmail.com, and my cell phone number is 917-751-3870. Feel free to reach out if you have any issues or need any support. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Any board member questions? Yes, Michelle.
Can you repeat your contact information just a little bit slower?
Oh, sure. I was trying to get off the mic as fast as possible.
Very considerate.
917-751-3870.
And your email?
Smith4nys@gmail.com. And on social media, it's Smith4ny on Instagram, Facebook, and X, or also known as Twitter. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. All right. With that, we will now move on to Elsie Encarnacion from Deputy Speaker Ayala's office. Elsie, you have your 3.
Thank you so much. I'll try to be as quick as possible. I just have a few updates. Obviously, November 17th was our annual turkey giveaway. We do it every year. This year, we were able to give well over 2,000 turkeys and a couple of hundred pork shoulders, pernilles, to the community, both in East Harlem and the South Bronx. I really want to highlight Positive Workforce, who every year volunteers their time, boots on the ground, delivering these turkeys for us. This year, we had major delays. Our truck broke down. It was like everything was against us, but we still got them out. And I just want to thank all of our partners and everyone who was just really helpful during that time. On the 20th, we held our Puerto Rican Heritage Month event down at City Hall. This year's theme was the Puerto Rican contribution to hip hop over the 50 years of hip hop. And we were able to honor our very own Violeta from KR3Ts, which was amazing to have someone from our district get honored down at City Hall. And lastly, before Eugene raises his hand, I wanted to report back on our meeting with EDC in regards to Julia de Burgos. We are in the process of having like a 2-pronged input session.
Anthony Brown, please mute yourself. Go on, Elsie.
Thank you. So we're having a 2-pronged approach in terms of feedback from the community. And so one will be a survey that we're looking to put out early next year and getting community feedback and how it will inform the RFP process and what we want to see in terms of programming in the 2 spaces there at Julia de Burgos. And we will also have an in-person event where people can come in person give, because I know surveys don't work for everybody. So we will have an in-person event, hopefully at Julia de Burgos, where people can come in and give again their feedback on how to inform the RFP for the Julia de Burgos that will come out in terms of managing that space. So we are moving on it. We're still in conversation, but as soon as that survey and that forum is scheduled, I will come back to you all and make sure you have the dates and make sure you attend. And I think that is all for now. Yes, I will yield my time.
Thank you, Elsie. Any board member questions? Okay, seeing no hands raised. Thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. And with that, we will now move on to the Borough President's report. Is the BP here, or will Eric Guedo be presenting?
Hi, everybody. The Borough President will be on shortly.
Apologies, he's not on yet.
Okay, we will carry on into our business session and we will just pause whenever he arrives so he can give his report. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. We're now moving into the business session. This is where board business is handled. We had our minutes distributed ahead of the meeting. They were posted on our website. If there are no objections, we'll adopt the minutes from that meeting. Board members, if you wish to object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections from the last full board meeting, the minutes are adopted. They will soon be fully available on the website. Okay, on to the chair report. I will keep it brief. A lot of events going on in the neighborhood. This is just a summary of some of them. I did happen to attend the District 4 legislative breakfast. It was a pleasure to see a lot of the principals and assistant principals and what they're requesting and what they need. Thank you to both Rosa and David who were there. I had been up on a business trip in Maine the night before during the shooting and was on lockdown up there, but I drove back and made it back in time. I want to say thank you for being in constant contact via phone with me. A lot of our schools have specific asks, and I think it's very important that one, they come to youth and education, but you also get involved. Dr. Christy De La Cruz, the superintendent of District 4, is fantastic. She will come along for a tour of any school site. Highly recommend it because some of those requests can be very specific, like granular to the level, like they had enough money for the men's bathroom or the women's bathroom, but they need money for the other side, or funding for a gym. And it's one particular aspect, whether it's the AC unit that needs to be installed or the ductwork. And it's really important for you to get involved, take a tour, just like when we did our sanitation tour. So get to know your school principals because they have specific asks that we should be engaging with on a monthly basis. Also attended the announcement of $3.4 billion to complete phase 2 of the 2nd Avenue subway. That was a momentous occasion for that announcement with Secretary Buttigieg, who came. We even had a former Congress member, Charlie Rangel, who had been fighting that fight. And my own grandmother used to tell me stories about when they dismantled. And then my dad telling me the stories. It's the longest pitch of bringing transportation to what is essentially a desert on 2nd Avenue. So it's a momentous occasion. We're still probably many years off before groundbreaking, but we've at least got the funding earmarked. This will be talked about briefly in land use, but at the Borough President's office, there was a presentation from DCP on the zoning text amendments for City of Yes. BP's office wants us to take positions on all 18 independently, take positions and recommendations, because he will take those all under considerations. Every single board in Manhattan is being requested to do this. So DCP is very much leaning in and said to us, we are giving you a long runway on this so come to your position by January. So take some time. It's very dense, but many of these zoning text amendments were, they're from the 1960s. And they really impede growth, economic growth from storefronts, and so on and so forth. So please dive on in. And just quickly, obviously, plug with the public safety conference that's coming up. That'll be here in Silverman. And then also too, we have the tree lighting happening on 106th and 3rd Avenue that same day. So there's a lot going on. So please get involved, spread the word. That concludes my chair report. Yes, Mark.
On the City of Yes proposals, I sat at the, I think it was the Economic Development Committee where, I forget his name, Sebastian, maybe? Anyway, he did a very thorough presentation of all 18, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And they asked for our feedback. I don't feel, one, I have the knowledge base to be able to really understand what the benefits of all of these changes are and what the consequences are. So I asked him, where is the no to the City of Yes? Who's actually figuring out what the issues are and presenting it to us so we can actually, weigh them? And the answer pretty much was, you're a land use expert. And that's great because I hear we have a really good land use expert, but I'm kind of hoping to be able to educate myself more than just only one person's opinion about them. But I've even looked online. I cannot find a lot of substantive arguments for or against these 18 proposals. So I'm hoping that we can potentially find some resources that board members can actually look at in advance of meetings so that we can actually be informed when we actually present our ideas.
Thank you for that observation. And DCP has said that if there are questions that extend beyond just their presentation, to please prepare those questions and they're ready to answer them. I don't know, Jess, if you wanted to add anything to that real quick.
Yeah, I would just encourage you to watch the recording of the land use meeting. George James, our land use consultant, was in attendance at that meeting and weighed in on a few elements. But as Xavier stated, any questions that you have, we're compiling those to send them to DCP. And I'm sure George wouldn't mind, reaching out to him individually.
Yep. One more.
Yeah, the questions unfortunately are quite broad because someone needs to explain why they're getting rid of. As I said to the presenter, 50 years from now, people are going to be saying the same thing about these changes they're saying about the things that were 50 years ago passed, right? Well, who thought this was a good idea in 2023, right? So there's got to be an argument out there for why these regulations were actually put in place and why they're no longer valid instead of one or two examples. So I could ask the question, but the question is so broad. It begs, basically the non-specific answer.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. They did give a series of examples, but I think that we can send specific questions saying how, in the context of East Harlem, would changing, say, the availability of light and making sure there's certain window placement so that people can see in. Other questions about when it comes to accessibility or storefronts having to be vacant was one of the examples that they had to hold for a certain period of time before you could actually retrofit or put a new business in that place. So there were a variety of different issues that were raised, but I will take that back and ask how we can better prepare our questions. And I appreciate the feedback very much, Mark. Thank you. Okay. With that, that concludes my chair report, and I will now move to our district manager report, and then our officers. Angel.
Sure. So at economic development, as was mentioned, the Department of City Planning came back for the second time in a couple of weeks to present on the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity. So again, as has been said here and was said the other night at economic development, encourage everyone that has the time and has the interest to view the meeting from November of the Land Use Committee and also the Economic Development Committee, where the Department of City Planning presented. We have our land use consultant, George James, presenting to the Land Use Committee on this very topic. And since, as Xavier referenced earlier, DCP is allowing more time for community boards to get their comments in on the economic opportunity proposal, the committee will have the time in December to continue to consider what is a massive proposal without the pressure of having to vote on it in December and instead hold off until January. As I expressed at the meeting at economic development, my response to Mark's question is that it's really on the board and the communities to determine what the no's are. George is an invaluable resource, but as Mark rightly said, he's just one person, and we cannot just depend on George, no matter how super duper he is. We have to have our own points of view and bring those to the table in formulating our questions and also our feedback to this proposal. And in terms of, why now versus then, and, why would this be better? It's a proposal of this particular time, not to be snide, just to be honest. It's a proposal that's looking at conditions now, and the original the 1961 zoning resolution was looking at conditions then. Things have changed. Also, there's political motivations that you all and the city, because it's a citywide proposal, have to take into consideration. What is the motivation of the city for this package of proposals? What are they actually seeking to get? Do we believe or not? Are we somewhat skeptical? And that's what you have to weigh as you're preparing your response the positions that you'll be taking on each one of the 18 pieces of this proposal in January. Do you like this one? Do you not like that one? Do you like it halfway? Do you like it all the way? That's really for you all to consider, and it's something that it's a question that it's an issue that as staff we always have to weigh when presenting things to the membership, because we of course recognize that you're volunteers and you don't do this professionally, and And some of these proposals are enormous. So it's a lot to ask. However, and again, not to be smart, it's kind of what it is, right? Community boards historically have asked to look at all the details. And now we're being given all the details. And sometimes those details are a lot of bloody details. My opinion is that this should not have been rolled out. The way it's been rolled out is entirely too much. It should have been taken in pieces, but administrations have their agendas, and they push things out at their according to their own timetable, and the rest of us have to figure out how we're going to respond. So again, encourage you to watch those two recordings, and if you have the time to log in or attend the land use meeting in December. Then the only other thing that I did want to mention from my written report is something that the President's Office asked us to push to members, and I'll just read it. The BP's office is hosting a virtual community training on combating illicit bias. It's going to be held on this coming Monday at 5 p.m., December 4th. This is one of 3 trainings that the BP's office expects all board members to take annually. Members can register in advance for the training through the BP's website. The training will also be recorded and posted on the BP's YouTube page. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Angel. Seeing no questions, we'll now move to our officers' reports. Jessica Elliott, Vice Chair.
Good evening, everyone. My report is for informational purposes only. Just to note a few things, I had to unfortunately miss our last month's Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee meeting to attend the very first Community Partners and Residents workshop with Columbia University for the Center for Smart Streetscapes. That's going to be ongoing for a number of months, I think 12 sessions in total. So, excited to be serving in the capacity there, and grateful to Malik McCullough, my vice chair for Environment, Open Space and Parks, for chairing the meeting this month. Just a couple of quick things. There's been a lot of, as you know, very passionate about environmental justice, and over the course of the last month met with We Act and the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice. There's a lot of grant opportunities out there, a lot of small scale and very, very large scale opportunities for neighborhoods like ours. Both We Act and the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice will be at the January Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee meeting. And if anyone is interested in getting engaged in grant applications and supporting that work, please let me know. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next, we do not have a treasurer's report this time. Is there a secretary's report this time?
There is not.
Okay, there's not a secretary's report this time. Thank you. We will now move on to our committee reports and action items. First up will be licenses and permits.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. We had a short meeting in terms of action items, but we're starting to get our first batch of OCM applications. We actually already had gotten them, but we didn't have our procedures in place. We now do. We voted in as a committee what we'll be looking for. Basically, we updated our stipulations, reworked our questionnaire, reworked our public notice process for letters of support for these. So at this month's meeting, we're having all those applicants who came originally come back with all the documents now that we put those in place. So we haven't taken a position on any of those yet. Those were all tabled for this month for that reason. And then I'll just go into, we didn't have any street activity permits. We only had liquor licenses this month. So number one was Santa Fe Taqueria Corp. It was a class change for a full liquor license. The application was withdrawn. So for that reason, the committee denied the application. Number two, Hot Jalapeno Restaurant Corp. was a renewal application for a full liquor license. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number three, Adrian E. Jimena Corp., renewal application for a full liquor license. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number four, PD Steakhouse renewal application for a wine, beer, and cider license. Committee recommended that that application be denied. They did not have all their documents and they were not present. And number five is 1779 Restaurant Corp. Was a renewal application for a full liquor license. Committee recommended that that application be approved.
Okay, and we will bundle the committee's recommendations if there are no questions from the board members. Yes, Jessica Morris.
Office of Cannabis Management. So we're getting our the dispensary licenses, retail dispensary, micro businesses. And as I said, this is a new thing, so this committee didn't have those procedures in place. I think, to be fully transparent, the process has been a bit confusing. I don't think, it seems like this is a citywide thing. A lot of boards are facing these challenges. I think it's public now. Everyone can see what we put into place. It's a work in progress. You know, we took into account everything we thought needed to be in there. But if we see that something's missing, we're going to work on it. It wasn't a short process. I opened it up for feedback to the committee, and everybody was given an opportunity to give input on the committee. And then everybody was also voted it through when we finally had a finished product, which I think, at least as a starting point, is a good one. And we'll see where we have to go from there.
Thank you for the question. If there are no further questions with the matter, we will bundle the committee's recommendations except for item 1 because that was withdrawn. So 2 was an approval for Hot Jalapeno Restaurant Corp. for its renewal. Adrian Y. Jimena Corp. doing business as Restaurant San Cristobal Corp. was approved. Number 4 was 2006 PD Steakhouse Inc. doing business PD Steakhouse for renewal. That was denied. And 5 was 1779 Restaurant Corp. renewal application for a full liquor license. And that was approved. Yes, Nelson. Yes, I will entertain a motion to accept the committee's recommendations. All right, so is there a second? Eugene Rodriguez, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. Anything else? No, thank you. Next up, we have our Environment, Open Space and Parks. Jessica Elliott.
Thank you. As mentioned, I was not present at the meeting. Unfortunately, Malik is not present here, but we've written the meeting minutes. So just to give a quick update, we did have an update from the Metropolitan Hospital flood wall project. Ask and you shall receive. Thank you, Jewel Jones, for bringing that as an item for the agenda. It was something we were able to get scheduled. So if there are other things you would like to see on the agendas, please just reach out and we will make it happen as we can. We also talked about Earth Day planning, generally just getting a little bit of a head start on that now that we have competition from the Public Safety and Transportation Committee. Congratulations to you all on hopefully what will be a wildly successful event. We're looking forward to planning ours for April, as you all know, around Earth Day, and we'll be continuing to talk about that at our meetings. We did also talk about the parks tour planning for next summer. As you know, this past summer, we visited every park in the neighborhood over the course of many weekends. And that was extremely helpful in crafting our budget requests. This year, we're taking a look at community gardens. So I think there's a lot we don't know and a lot, we want to know and to be in partnership with these groups and to understand, what's going on. So if you have any thoughts or would like to get involved, please let us know and we'll continue to talk about that. We have one item of business, which is the action from our October meeting where we had a presentation from New Yorkers for Parks to increase the funding of New York City for parks to 1% of the total New York City budget. Our committee made a motion to support, to provide a letter of support, and the motion was passed unanimously. Any questions?
Sage.
couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's fluctuated over the years. It used to be above, I can't remember the stats right off the top of my head, but it's fluctuated over time, and I think over the decades slipped less and less, below 1%, and they want to get it back up to that 1%. All the meeting minutes are available from that meeting, and I'm pretty.
Yep.
Yeah, and the presentation is available on the community board website.
So definitely check it out. But again, we have a large amount of open air spaces and parks, and we don't often get the equitable investment. So that's why the request. With that is, yes, Jason. Question.
Yep. Yeah, great
Okay.
point.
Michelle, your question.
At this point, it's important, at this point, it's important to put it on the table that the parks will be falling apart since they're so understaffed. And if things fall apart so much so that we don't have open air for resilience to keep our area safe, then we need a quality of life. And so we need to make a balance. And that's also important.
Jason.
Great. Yep, it's just like that community board interview process where you only have, $1 million and it has to come from somewhere. Michelle was the original creator of the motion. Do you accept that friendly amendment?
Michelle.
You see, I'm also on public safety and transportation. So you are like trying to pull me apart here between two things that I feel are extremely important, which is safety and the environment. At this point, I think it would be unhealthy to take away money from one to pay the other. I think it would be important to know that this is one of the lowest increases that would be occurring within our system. It has decreased so much more. So this slight increase is just putting it at a safety level, not at a tolerant level, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay. Thank you. I would say, and Russ, I'll go to your question and then Sage. There's nothing that precludes us from amending later on because the committee did a. Yeah, and again, but we'll hear from the other members on it. And oftentimes what's been recommended is don't let perfection be the enemy of good. And there's nothing that precludes that in subsequent making a more specified ask. But Russell, your question. Thank you, Russell. Any other questions? Sage and then Eugene. Thank you for that on-hand research. Eugene. Okay, thank you. Yes, Jason.
And so for me, the math has to matter. And so like right now, there's one of the proposed cuts to DOE budget by $547 million. That would be cut from two cases. So I do think that we need to be more confident instead of one year going forward. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments on the matter, we will now entertain a motion. Yes, Jose. Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the committee's recommendation to provide a letter of support, increase the funding for parks to 1% of the NYC budget. Is there a second? Eugene? Oh, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Any abstentions? Mark, you're against or abstention? No. No, that's okay. Abstentions are used for a handful of situations. You may be supportive of it and have an issue with one or two items in it. You may have a lack of clarity and don't feel like coming down on a yes or no. All right, that would qualify as an abstention. However, for our tallying and all board members, that will get counted as a no, just for the record. So we got all the yays. Any nays? Any nay, Jason Wu? Abstentions? Mark Bogursky, Jessica Morris, Beverly Pavone. The motion carries. All right, with that, we'll now move to land use, landmarks, and planning. Nilsa Rama, do you mind?
Good evening. I got a little bit, right, because I'm so short. Good evening, everybody. So I'm gonna be brief. We don't have our minutes in, but we will get them in as soon as possible for your information. Now, I just want to go back quickly, as has been questioned. You know, there's a proposal, the city of Yes, there's 18 text amendments, different categories. They're about different proposals for different districts, like your C1, C2, C4, C6s, your R districts, your M districts, your special purpose districts. Now, these are things that generally we really don't know about in our day-to-day, but as community board members, I will urge you to go back and look at our land use meeting. I will urge you to look at our economic development meeting. I will urge you to go on the city planning websites and the NewYorkCity.gov website and get materials on zoning so that you understand what different definitions mean, as you will be voting on different items that have to do with this community through our land use actions. DCP came, they did an informational session on the city of Yes. They asked that if we had any questions, to please send the questions and they will be happy to answer. They're expecting us to comment on these 18 text amendments as a board. So it's really important that any questions that we have, any clarification, not understanding something, that we ask the questions both from George James, our land use expert, our staff, our chair, who has been to many, many meetings, so that we can try to formulate the right answers, the right questions, so we can get the right answers, or answers that make sense to us for our district. Okay, so with that, we also had another informational session, which I think would be very interesting to everyone on this board, because it's on zoning and it's an app that developers use. So it's called propertyscout.com. So you can go on the website, and it's an app that New York City Zoning and Land Use that helps developers and architects find sites within the district and helps them evaluate it faster, more accuracy, almost in an instant zoning and air right analysis. And that's straight from our agenda, that definition. So the man, Wilson Perry, he came, he did a great presentation. He's offering, trial, memberships at a certain cost to the community boards, if that's something that community boards, would like to do. I'd like to, since Jessica is up, I'd like to give Jessica a moment to maybe explain a little further on the app. So that if there are any questions, that he's gonna come again and present, and he's also going to other boards. And he's also mentioned he's gonna go to the Manhattan Borough President to do a presentation. Jessica?
Thank you. So Nils, I believe the trial for community board to utilize the software would be a no cost for a period of time. It's you you said it all in that it's a tool that has a lot of capability to reduce the amount of searching that needs to happen in order to understand what may be possible in our neighborhood as far as development potential relative to various overlays that typically are not so accessible. So having the power to understand what may be possible, it doesn't change as of right development, but it gives us the opportunity to do some proactive research to when large investments, public investments are being made, such as along the Second Avenue corridor and the 2017 rezoning along the Third Avenue corridor. If we're aware of what may be possible, the types of things that we may have interest in asking for beyond basic necessities and basic needs, with the understanding of what may be in the pipeline, all hypothetical, is something that we can have access to as a tool to inform what we know. So.
Thank you.
So with that said, as soon as we get our minutes in, we urge you to read our minutes, but we will always urge you to look at the land use meetings, because land use, it affects our community. The as of right developments affect our community. Things that are torn down or being redeveloped. And we cannot opine if we are not educated enough. And so we have to really put in our effort into every committee as we can. If we can't attend the meetings, we should read the minutes. But this is something that you're going to be opining on next month. So I urge you to look at the land use meeting this month and go back to the November economic development and land use meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nelson. And next we have Human Services. Pastor Scott.
I have a question.
Oh, I missed your hand. I apologize. Who has a question? Oh, Beverly. Hi, Beverly. Your question for Nilsa?
Yes, Nilsa. I would definitely want to piggyback off what Nilsa is saying. I mean, it's very important for us to go back to, well, I'm going to pay attention to that land use, because I believe some of this rezoning in private, although we live in public housing, these are private properties. And I've been, a lot of times, NYCHA try to sneak in and do rezoning to do infills. And the property, one of the, I believe the proposals are right by my development. So it will be, if they are successful, it will be splitting my development in one side from the other side. So, and again, when they do rezoning for these commercial spaces, it's almost like they doing infills in these developments. So I urge all leaders, all resident leaders in the 68 to go back and make sure that what they are asking to rezone is not in your development, because a lot of times NYCHA is hooked up with these things because they want to, if they're not doing, being able to transition your apartments from RAD to PAC and trust, they will try to do infills. So I yield.
Thank you. Thank you, Beverly. Yes, Jessica Morris, because then I'm going to move us.
Thank you, Xavier. And I asked a similar question, Beverly, at the presentation for the City of Yes for economic opportunity, where there's one of the 18 points that does point to potential for NYCHA infill, and the response from DCP was that aspect of City of Yes rezoning will potentially be a part of the housing opportunity package that is coming next. So it's not directly related in the economic opportunity package, but it is something that will be an aspect of the one that's coming down the pipeline. So please show up and keep asking those questions and stay tuned.
Thank you for the response on that. All right, great. Moving everyone along, and please try to limit the crosstalk. Isaac, Human Services.
So
thank you
good.
for your patience.
Peace and blessings, everybody. All right. The Human Services Committee, we met on the 13th of November, which seems like so far away from now. We had no action items this month. We had our, we had our informational updates. We had a few presentations, one informational presentation on a new emergency stroke trial through Mount Sinai's health system. It's called FASTEST. We had another informational presentation regarding supportive housing needs assessment from the Corporation for Supportive Housing. We also had a request for a letter of support for Your Needs First, Inc. and its employment transitional housing program. So that's an ongoing discussion. So if you want to know more about it, just come to the next meeting where we'll be grilling them a little bit more. Old business, we started our process of just introducing the fact that we have budget items that we will be workshopping from now until the next budget season. And these budget items are directly in relation to the positions our committee has taken. So one of the things that we hope to do is, in a consistent way, is if we take a position, ensure that there are also budget items aligned with that position we took, so that our advocacy is even extended in a financial capacity. And in new business, we spoke about different topics the Human Services Committee will be exploring. We got, I won't say that it was a bad thing. We spent a long time dealing with the moratorium and what was necessary at the moment. One of the things I don't want us to do is, the Human Services Committee has a full scope, a full purview of things we should be considering: immigration, supportive housing, social services. And during the meeting, I went through what social services actually are, because in a lot of these meetings and in the heat of the moment, folks are like, we're inundated with social services, but that's not correct. We don't have nearly as enough social services that we need in East Harlem regarding the different types of issues that are present, especially with now we have a lot of New Yorkers coming in. So we want to make sure that each month we're focusing our energy in the right places. So we'll figure that out as a unit and figure out how we can cast our net as wide as possible to be as, helpful to the community as possible. With that, that concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
Cool. I love no questions.
Thank you very much. Youth and education. David? Or Asher's going to present? Come on down.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So we only have one action item for this month, and we wanted to provide a letter of support to Irvin Dove Charter School. They're trying to find a place to build in East Harlem. Just a brief overview about Irvin Dove is it's a transitional school, where most transitional schools take about like kids on the older range, like 17, 18. They are more focused on helping the younger kids before they end up falling too far behind. And they have a pretty unique model where they use sports as an incentive for the kids, but not just sports and like actually playing sports. They have some kids who do management, learn about like the business side of it, and they treat their classes like, I think, teams is how they said. So each it's like a group of like 10 kids assigned to a coach, and that's like their mentor. So just some other general information is we were talking about our mission statement, and it ended up being a little bit too long, so we have to revisit that for next month. So yeah. And also we were I think it was Angel who mentioned it during the meeting, a suggestion about like how Parks is going around to the parks, us touring the schools within East Harlem, because we have a very good relationship with the superintendent and CEC4. So it would be a good idea for us to go around to the schools and speak to the principals and encourage them to come to the board to present their budget requests. So is there any questions?
Any questions? Okay, Jessica Marsh.
Well, this specific school is a charter school, but a transfer school is basically a school for high schoolers that they're either behind on credits or they miss some. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, if they miss like any like a time period of school. They're basically just behind on credits. And Urban Dove's mission is to try to get them to still graduate on time, even if they're behind on credits.
Emery.
They said, David, correct me if I'm wrong, they have locations in Brooklyn, right?
Possibly for Brooklyn or Queens for the location of the other school, and they want the other school located in East Harlem. One of the things they're gonna give us regular updates, is locating a space in East Harlem. They don't want to co-locate because they need a gym to implement their programming fully. So God only knows where they're gonna find a space that big in East Harlem. But they determined, and they said they possibly would come back and give an update at the next committee meeting. So
Yeah, that's the big thing. They don't want to co-locate with a school. So
okay.
And they've been in East Harlem for 20 years, running after school programs as well. That's our history with them in the community.
All right, thank you for the context. See that there are no more questions. We're going to move forward. The committee made a motion to provide Urban Dove a letter of support for their plans to bring a new transfer school to East Harlem. Seconded by John Green and passed unanimously. I will now open the floor to entertain a motion. Yes, David.
Yes, I was present not voting, and I will be present not voting again because my wife worked the other school.
Thank you. Isaac, and then Isaac.
Motion to support the committee's recommendation.
To issue a letter of support to Urban Dove. Adam, did you have a? All right, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Eugene is opposed. Okay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much. President not voting would be David Giordano. The motion carries. Next is Economic Development and Culture. Giselle?
Good evening, everyone. We had an interesting meeting this month. Our meeting was on November 21st. I'll start by thanking the Puerto Rican International Film Festival for allowing small businesses to participate in one of their events. Also, Hot Bread Kitchen has partnered with Santander Bank on a program that provides resources to early stage entrepreneurs with businesses in the food industry. If you would like more information, you can go to rebrand.ly/CSB9. They are accepting applications through January 14th, 2024. We had a presentation by Jani Gonzalez Velasquez. She's from the Jazz Power Initiative. We had our usual informational updates from Uptown Grand Central, Union Settlement. I encourage everyone to participate in some of the holiday events that they have going on. I'm sure Angel's going to be passing around emails from a lot of holiday things that Carrie and Michelle have going on. We had presentations by Con Edison. We had a Jose M. Serrano, our state senator. He actually attended our economic development meeting. He briefed us on a bill that he has introduced. It's been around for about a year. However, it did not pass in the Senate. So he is still trying to gain, I would say, get people to get interested into his bill. I encourage everyone to look at our meetings so that you know what's the number and name of the bill. You can also visit a website that I can provide for you if you'd like to show support for the bill. It has a lot to do with designating communities as cultural districts, and that ties into an initiative that Eugene, one of our board members, has been very adamant in pushing. So I think it's worth everyone looking at what Jose Serrano has as a bill, so that it could help East Harlem become a cultural district, perhaps even faster when and if we meet the requirements. Lastly, we had a presentation from New York City Department of City Planning. We've spoken about the city of Yes. I think this is an opportunity for people to cross collaborate with economic development. If you have any specific, I would say, questions, comments that you think we can pass over to land use, please email me, call me, text me, and we can have a further discussion. I think it's important considering the amount of time that we have to look at such a lengthy proposal, 18 at that. So one of our board members, Vinny, had said it the best. Sometimes these things are intentional and they're placed on our laps at this time of the year so that we kind of just, breeze by it. But January is only a few weeks away. And so please take a look at it. If you have anything that you would like me to say on behalf of economic development, please reach out. We do have an action item. Our letter of support for emergency work permits for asylum seekers. Thank you, Jessica, one of our board members, for introducing this into conversation for our committees.
Great. Thank you very much, Giselle. Any questions? Eugene, your question?
Passed the Senate, it didn't pass the Assembly. So we have some work to do with the Assembly to get that done. And I'm sure it'll pass. I hope that's.
Thank you for that context. Jessica Morris and then Isaac Scott.
Having read, and I apologize, I left the meeting early before this discussion. Having read the resolution, I'm not sure that it clearly identifies one of the key critical issues, which is the 90-day period of delay, a waiting period that asylum seekers have to bear before. So I think to be technically correct and have any action by the board resonate, there's some additional information that should probably be included in the resolution. So it's something that would go back to committee to get more that information. And there was a letter that had some information in it. So I don't know where that went.
Is that something, is that something that kind of like what happened a couple of minutes ago, to where it's something that we can modify going down and still vote on this action item now, or?
So Eugene, do you have a question? So there are two pathways. If it's a simple thing, we can accept a friendly amendment, but if it is a lot of contextual change, it is recommended to send it back to committee to where it can be re-edited, and the committee can then take a full position on it. So if you have like one small item, like in a Boolean request of like, if this, then we just ask for this, or, you know, a specific amount carved out, things as an example. Otherwise, it would be recommended for this body to either send it back to the committee and bring it back next month, which would be laying it on the table indefinitely. So
I don't think this is time sensitive, so it can go back to committee. And Jessica, we can amend.
So if you're pleased, I'll entertain a motion to send it back to committee. Isaac, but before I do that, Isaac, did you have a question?
Board, but given what just took place, I can motion to put this going back to committee so they can work on it a bit more.
Yeah, so you can make, if that pleases you as chair of that committee.
Yes.
Yes, I'll entertain a motion. Did you have a question, Candy?
Okay, I think.
So Isaac, you'd like to make a motion to send back to committee? Yes.
Motion to kindly send this back to committee so that they can continue to develop it as this crisis is developing.
Okay. And the second, is that second, Candy? Yeah. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have executive. Okay, we generally didn't have any major action items except for dealing with attendance issues. As you know, as we rolled out back in person September, we took an assessment from our time in the virtual environment, and as per our bylaws, if you had missed 4 or more of either full board meetings or your committee meetings, that it would trigger the due process for removal. And it does not mean necessarily people were going to be removed, but to get context and explanation from those members, say they've had undue hardship, et cetera, and so on. And in that, we followed the procedure. We had several meetings over that. We had a report back with our secretary, and we had 2 sessions. We did send out letters. We received responses from all, and per our bylaws, it states that, you know, the process we set out in the contact period, we had to receive a response. All members who were caught in that 4 or more period have responded, and only 1 did not, and per our bylaws was subject to removal. We did have a discussion. It was done in executive session. That is done because of privacy concerns, personal matters that may deal with someone's personal life, employment, et cetera, and so on. And that is per our bylaws again. So again, after the discussion, we came out and Jessica Elliott had made a motion to remove Jahib Chaudhry from the board membership for failure to comply with CB11's attendance requirements. The motion was seconded by John Green. It passed all members present with 1 abstention via Nueva. And for context, for those that are unaware, and it is public record, the individual in question has only attended 1 meeting in a 1-year period of each of his, I think is 1 committee meeting each and 1 full board, and has been contacted multiple times and been non-responsive, so that you have context in that case. So are there any questions? Sage and then Beverly. So if the council member had assigned the individual, the council member will be contacted, as will be the BP's office. And since applications will be opening up in January, typically, unless there's someone waiting in the queue, on the rare instance, a council member may assign someone. So for example, if this was in District 9, we have a new council member who's coming in, and they may elect to wait until the application period goes through. If someone has and we have a couple spots open right now. We have, I think, 3 from resignation. So that's most likely, and historically, the BPs have just waited if we're this close to the application process to then just wait. So then they have a full counting. And it also depends on the term, how long the individual's term was for that seat. So, Beverly?
Hope that answers your question. Thank you. Yes, Beverly.
Yes, my question was also but in regards to us being able to conduct business, but that, since you said it might be 3 people that we have openings for, would that stop us from doing business?
No, and in fact, the absence of any one individual, and we have gone through the removal process, has prevented business from being conducted, and we have lost quorum on certain committees as a result. which is why it's important for all of us to attend. And just for the record, so everyone knows, when you're excused, it's, sickness, caregiving for someone who's sick, death, military service. And we also include excusals for those that could participate in teleconference form. Absence is every other reason. You could be traveling for a work trip or on personal matters. But it's still about not being present, and they're still calculated the same. However, the excusal gives context to why you weren't there. And so just so everyone understands. Yes, Jessica Morris.
When does member Chowdhury's term end and committees
Okay, I do not have an answer to when. I could probably look that up shortly. But I think he sits on, you can pull that up real quick. I think Human Services was one. Bear with us while we pull up that information. Human Services is one, and Housing. And both lost quorum at one point or another. Thank you. If there are no other questions in the matter, I will entertain a motion. Yes, Nelson. Okay. Motion made by Neil Sarama to support the removal of Jab Chaudhry's from the board. Second from Jewel. Second. All those in favor? Those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. One quick note, we have moved our meeting for December. It will be now December 7th. And just for context, as Adam Brihan noted, with license and permits, we're having to take a position very quickly because of the ill thought out process from OCM only giving us 30 days and that timestamp versus what was discussed at Borough Board, which was that it should be mirroring the SLA process. So they're going to have their meeting on the 6th, and then we have one on the 7th. So bear that in mind in case you please wrangle your members for quorum to make sure you get your action items in, because executive will not be meeting at the tail end of the month. Yes, Jessica.
Just to note that the original meeting of the Environment, Open Space and Parks was December 7th. We've pushed it back 1 week, so it is now this Thursday, November 30th. I forgot to mention that, so apologies.
Thank you. And the last little bit is we are having our Second Avenue Subway Task Force meeting tomorrow at the board office at 6:30. So please, if you sit on that committee, please be there. It will be a very quick meeting for updates. Yes, Isaac. No. We will see on the 7th, but anyone, so committees, Human Services, Eco Dev, Land Use, Public Safety and Transportation, please make sure you have quorum so you can take your action items if you have any, because executive will not be meeting subsequently. Yes, Jose, and then Bev. Oh, Public Safety.
We weren't there.
No, there was not.
We didn't have quorum, but we wanted to say something.
Well, typically, if you want to come up, Jose, and say, because you didn't have quorum, correct?
Which is why attendance is important. All right, we've been fighting with I've been giving our chair a hard time with attendance. I hope this board takes attendance seriously now that we're going in person. I feel that it's nothing personal. It's just if you can't be here, then you just can't be here. The work is done in committee, it's done in full board. It's just what it is. It's not like we have an argument or a fight, but I was hoping that I missed executive. I had a death in the family. I was hoping that list would have been a little longer, and next executive will take it up. Public safety did not have quorum this month. However, We do have our forum, our safety forum, actually right here this Friday. We'd like to welcome everyone here. We have the Commissioner O'Connor, who is like an encyclopedia. We are focusing on youth violence. He was the commissioner for youth strategies. He knows practically anyone and everyone that's doing unfortunate illegal things, and he's here to give a very strong message. We were lucky to have him. We hope that everyone can join us. As you know, youth violence is the #1 public safety issue in our community, as well as the we did a thing with the what was the thing? Sorry, my brain's not. We did for like the community. We did anyway. The community also agreed on that. I forget what it's called right now because my brain's a little off. But no. We asked the opinion, the survey we did, and it came out that youth violence was, because it's what it is. You've seen the shootings, you've seen the violence. It's unfortunate, and we're hoping to see what we can do. I know Youth and Education also have one, the following week, which we're hoping to support. We can't really compete with Parks because Jessica Alia runs a tight ship. But luckily, we're not here to compete with each other. We're here to uplift each other, because it's hard to compete against Jessica Alia. So we're looking forward. Hopefully, we'll see some of your faces here Friday. It's 11 to 1 o'clock. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Sean?
We do need volunteers for that time period, which is this Friday, starting at 10:30. The doors will be opening at 9:30 for people to come and help. And if you would like to volunteer, please contact me. You have my number and you have my email. If not, please meet me outside. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a call for volunteers. Beverly, you had a question.
The 7th meeting is for what?
Executive committee.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, with that, that concludes Executive Committee and Public Safety and Transportation. Thank you. Next up is Nilsen Rama with our Elections Committee. And if we could have the Elections Committee, please come down. While we go through this process, we are still waiting for the borough president to arrive, so.
Okay. So we're almost here, and John Green is sitting right here. And so I wanna thank you all for accepting my numerous emails regarding the election. But this is an important process of Community Board 11. This is where you decide leadership. Now, you shouldn't have too much difficulty this time around, as most of all of our candidates are unopposed. So we sent out information regarding each candidate, and I just want to take a minute to introduce our committee. Oops. For those who may not know, this is John Green right here. Okay, thank you. And this is Kenneth Crouch, Isaac Scott, and Jordan Wright. Okay, and so we got together very quickly, and so to move this along, I'm just going to show you something because I had to improvise. I forgot the ballot box. So this will be the ballot box. And so as Kenneth Crouch sits and is given the voting, your ballots, he will place them in here. We will only look at the ballots once everyone has voted, and you will have 10 minutes to vote. We were supposed to have a forum. That didn't happen based on the fact that there wasn't more than one person per each position. So the way this will work is that we will call up each candidate for the position. They will have 3 minutes to talk to you about themselves and what they expect out of this position and what they expect to do. You should, if you have any questions, if you bother to read their bios or their resumes, you may have a question. If you do, you will have 2 minutes in which to ask any questions. If you don't have any questions, the candidate will be instructed to sit down. So with that said, I'm going to start calling candidates based on the leadership hierarchy. And so with that, I'm calling Xavier Santiago, candidate for chair, to make a 3-minute statement. You can do it from there.
I appreciate everyone's patience. Unfortunately, I've got a head cold. And although it is the season for sharing and caring, I don't want to get anyone else sick. It's been a real honor to serve with everyone here. And I want to say I'm deeply thankful for your trust. I always believe we're better by working together. And I look forward to your continued trust and always, again, us leaning into one another. We're not perfect creatures by any way, shape, or form, myself included. But the one thing I've learned through serving with all of you is that I get to improve every day. And I'm very pleased to wake up and have the deep policy questions, the conversations, and really think tank how we can change for the better this community. And just as our DM has alluded, you know, when it comes to mandatory inclusionary housing and other issues that we have plucked out of thin air, and now they become citywide policies. And that's the power as a community board we hold. And I think in this coming cycle and term, thank you. I'm looking forward to offloading as much of my institutional knowledge that I've gained from the members who preceded me and what I've learned along the way, people like Joe Goldblum, Francis Mastrota, Celia Ramirez, so many others. And I'm looking to offload and nurture everyone in this room to improve and grow so we can continue on the good work for generations to come. So as always, thank you for the honor. I'm here at your service and I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. Are there any questions for Xavier Santiago? Don't raise your hands all at once. Okay. Thank you so much. With that, we will move to the vice chair position. The candidate for that position is Jessica Elliott. Jessica?
Thank you, Nelsa. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Elliott. I've been the vice chair for the last, it wasn't a full 2 years. And I also obviously serve as the chair of Environment, Open Space and Parks. I am, you know, I like to think that leaders are nothing without, you know, the work and the involvement of everyone else and uplifting the leadership within each of the individual members of the community board, acknowledging that we're all volunteers and, you know, most of us have, you know, other things going on in our lives, but been working closely with Xavier and Angel over the past couple years on, you know, how do we make the best of a volunteer organization and how do we activate everyone on the different things that they're passionate about. It's a hard question to answer, and I think that we're making strides, and I hope that you all see, you know, how much we've accomplished in the last 2 years when it comes to the East Harlem Earth Day Conference and now the Public Safety and Transportation Conference, and how impactful we can be when we are operating together as 50 people. I am just one person, and I think I like to acknowledge when I don't know things, and that I have also a lot of room to grow as a human and as a board member. So I do not think that I have solved every problem with you all, and I think there's plenty of work to be done, good work to be done together, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and I'm always available. I think I have a very demanding full-time job, so I think I am a little bit less available during the daytime hours, but please feel free to email me or text me or call, but just know that I might have to call you back. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to serve as your vice chair, and I hope to make you proud.
Thank you, Jessica. Does anybody have any questions for Jessica? No? Moving right along. The next position we're going to hear from is Ms. Rosa Diaz. She is the candidate for secretary. Rosa, you can feel if you want to stay over here, wherever you're comfortable. Okay.
Join the party.
Absolutely. Come on there.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Rosa Diaz. Most of you know me. Thank you for your votes tonight. I am not a distinguished speaker, but I am here to serve. However I can help, let me know. I let my actions do the talk. Thank you.
A woman of few words, but are there any questions for Rosa? Notice how she ran quickly, but we can still get her up here. All right, thank you so much. And the next position we're going to hear from is Treasurer and Miss Stephanie Arroyo.
Hello, thank you. Stephanie Arroyo, I've been on the board for about 2 years, I want to say. I am the chair of District Needs. I have held a seat in the Committee of Housing. I've held a seat in the Committee of Economic Work Development, and also in District Needs, and now I'm the chair. I love working with you guys. You guys are awesome. I learn from each and every one of you. I hope as the treasurer, I will learn where the money goes, what we do with the money, and I hope to continue to have this, like, I love that I can speak to Angel. I love that I can speak to Khalid. I can speak to Marlene. I can speak to Xavier, Jessica. You guys are always available to me. Nosa, always available to you guys if you guys don't know that. And I want to be that for you guys as well. So thank you guys for asking me to do this, and hopefully I will do a good job. And thank you. That's it.
I know there's no questions, right? We're all following. So with that, we're going to the Assistant Treasurer position, Claudia Perez.
Claudia had a family emergency.
Okay, so I had circulated Claudia's bio and her questionnaire yesterday, so hopefully you had an opportunity to read it. The fact that she's not here does not mean that the election for voting for her position can happen. Of course, it can happen. She's just not here. Okay. Angel, are we taking a roll call vote before the election? Okay, so just so that you're aware, just so that we know who's actually in the room, a roll call vote will be held. Please make sure that you respond so that we're aware you're in the room. Ken Crouch will give out once the roll call vote is done. Once the roll call is done, Ken Crouch will give out the ballots. They look like this. Once he starts giving them out, you're gonna have 10 minutes. I'll tell you roughly the time that we want them back. We are going to ask you to bring the ballot. Ken will be right here in seat number 1. When you have finished voting, you are to print your name, you are to vote, and you are to sign it. And once you do those steps, shouldn't take you long, I ask that you bring it back to this seat right here, and Ken will put it in our makeshift ballot box. Once everyone has returned their ballot is when we will start tabulating the ballots. If there's anyone at home that has been excused for voting and will be opting for a digital virtual vote, Angel will be sending out those links, and those people will vote virtually, and then those votes, in addition to the in-person votes, will be tallied together, and then once we've done all that, we will then announce the winners officially. Okay, with that, Angel will call the roll call vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Michelle, please.
Okay, here we go now. Jose Altamirano. Seriously? Stephanie Arroyo. April Autry. Mark B. Adem Briha. Karim Koser. Devon Cronchow. Kenneth Crouch. Present. Carlos Diaz. Rosa Diaz. Angela Donadell is excused. Jessica Elliott. Judith Fabrero. Rahab Flores is excused. Brandon Gillespie. David Giordano. John Green. Annie Hansen. Wanda Hopkins. Is she excused? She's on Zoom. Okay. Christina Johnson. Jewel Jones. Sharon Lynch. Beverly McFarland. Giselle Malave. Please no crosstalk. Sage Mason. Malik McCullough is excused. Jennifer Mayer. Alicia Miranda. Jessica Morris. Nilsa Orama.
Present.
Beverly Pabon. Claudia Perez is excused. Asha Rodriguez. Eugene Rodriguez. Dawn Sanders. Xavier Santiago.
Present.
Isaac Scott. Russell Schuler. Loretta Sau. Vinny Torres. Ana Perez Vasquez. Sorry about that, Henry. I was about to cough and still did. Jason Villanueva is excused. Candy Vives Vasquez. Michelle Wilcher Clement is here. Jordan Wright and Jason Wu. Roll call is complete.
Okay, thank you. So with that, Ken will give you each a ballot. Once you print your name, you complete and you vote for your candidates, or you abstain if you choose not to vote for a candidate. You will then sign off. That's your official ballot. You will bring it up to seat number 1 and Ken will collect it. Everyone heard me, right?
Nelson, can you please repeat that a little bit louder into the mic?
Okay. Okay, guys, come on. Go ahead, Nosa, please repeat the
Just
instructions.
for Jose and Candy, who's laughing back there. Ken is giving you all the ballot. Print your name. Vote for your candidates. If you choose not to vote for a particular candidate, please indicate abstain. Once you finish voting for all your candidates, you're going to sign off that that is your ballot and that you have completed it at the end of the sheet. You will then bring it up to this first row right here. Seat number 1, Ken will be with the makeshift ballot box. You will hand it to Ken. He will put it in. Not yet. We haven't finished the process. Right? You will then bring it up to Ken once we tell you that we are accepting ballots. All right, so Ken has to finish giving out the ballots before we start accepting them. Jessica?
Cool.
Jessica, yes, election committee members vote because we are part of the body, just like the candidates get a chance to vote for themselves. They'd be kind of silly to vote for someone else, but so they get to vote as well. Did everyone get a ballot? Every voting member, I am going to give the elections committee their ballots.
Beverly McFarland, you had your hand raised.
Yes, my name was called, but it didn't say excused. I had called in for.
Yeah, you're excused. You're excused. Thank you.
As mentioned, those who are voting virtually will be sent a link or has been sent a link by Angel Muscane. They will do their ballot online and certify, and then that will be sent back to us. We will be adding those virtual ballots to our paper ballots. If there is a board member who has not received the ballot, please let me know. You can now return your ballots if those who have finished voting. You have the latest till 9:15 to finish. Make sure you signed your ballot at the end. If you have not signed, it is not valid. I hope not. I'm trying to. Well, I know, but, oh shit, wait a minute, I have to vote. I have to vote.
Why do you abstain? Why not a no?
Over there, Mr. Number One.
Attention, everyone, while the Elections Committee continues working, everyone, the crosstalk, quick announcement, our videographers here, they have an out by 9:30, so I'd appreciate everyone moving along quickly. Just to remind, we will lose the videographers at that time. I didn't get to make an announcement earlier. Thank you very much. And then we also have Mark Levine, who's on to give his Borough President's report. Or did we lose him? Looks like he left.
Hello, everyone. After the diligent work of our elections committee, can I have them get a round of applause? You're so tired. Anyway, I'd like to give you we had 34 in-person votes and 1 virtual vote. Wanda Hopkins voted virtually. Xavier Santiago got 35 out of 35 votes. Jessica Elliott got 35 out of 35 votes. Rosa Diaz got 35 out of 35 votes. Stephanie Arroyo got 35 out of 35 votes. And Claudia Perez got 34 out of 35 votes. So I would like to announce your leadership for starting January 1, 2024 will be Xavier Santiago as chair, Jessica Elliott as vice chair, Rosa Diaz as secretary, Stephanie Arroyo as treasurer, and Claudia Perez as assistant treasurer. Thank you and good night. The meeting now goes back to Xavier Santiago.
Great. Thank you, Nilsa Arama, and thank you, everyone. We're going to move along because we got 5 minutes left. We have 1 action item and the BP came on. Guys, could we limit the crosstalk, please, just so we can get done, okay? We do, I think Eric Guello is still on. Eric, if you could give a brief report for the BP's office, because then we have a new business action item I got to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, everyone. Good job with elections and everything you've been doing. I will be incredibly brief. Just wanted to first thank anybody who came to join us. We had a volunteer day of action where we were cleaning up different parts of either waterfronts or areas that required a little bit of cleaning in the borough, which included our East River Esplanade. So we had a great team of about a dozen people, and we want to continue these events, keep the volunteer work going. So if you are interested in volunteering with our office, please visit our website, manhattanbp.nyc.gov, and check out volunteer opportunities there. Second, with open meetings law set to expire in the summer, we're going to be holding a public hearing on December 14th at 11 a.m. This meeting is for anyone. It's a public hearing. However, we are, of course, interested in what our community board members are feeling works or doesn't work when it comes to hybrid meetings, to just give testimony about the future of hybrid meetings. We'll be sending out more information about this soon, but all the testimony that we gather will be sent to the New York State Office of Open Government. That's my report. Just thank you again.
Thank you very much for hanging in with us, and hopefully we'll be able to align the schedules better with the VPs and Marcus attendance.
No
We
worries, thank
appreciate the effort. With that, we'll now move along to new business. Item number 10, Disfruting LLC doing business as Allison's. There's a renewal application for a wine, beer, and cider license, and it's number 1319295 for a restaurant located in 1651 Lexington Avenue. 104th Street. They just missed the licenses and permits meeting and didn't get everything to us by executive either, enough time to post for the 3-day notice. Otherwise, everything was provided. I'm correct on that, Adam? Yeah. Angel, we have all the documents, correct? Okay. So this is normal. It's just one of these one-off situations that it comes before the full body just because the way the calendar fell and getting deliverables. Are there any questions? All right, we have a motion to approve and a second by Eugene Rodriguez, motion by Carlos Diaz to approve. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Any old business? Seeing none, we'll now do the roll call.
Jose, no crosstalk, please. Jose Altamirano. Are you present? Are you here, Jose? I need to hear your voices, your beautiful voices. Stephanie Arroyo, April Autry, Mark B, Adem Briha, Devon Crunchow, Kenneth Crouch, Carlos Diaz, Rosa Diaz. Angela Donadell is excused. Jessica Elliott. Judith Fabretto. Raha is excused. Brandon Gillespie. David Giordano. John Green. Annie Hansen. Wanda Hopkins.
Present.
Beautiful. Christina Johnson. Jewel Jones. Sharon Lynch. Beverly McFarley is excused. Giselle Malave, excuse me.
Go on.
Sage Mason. Malik McCullough. Excuse. Jennifer Mayer. Alicia Miranda. Alicia? Jessica Morris. Nilsa Orama. Beverly Pabon. Claudia Perez is excused. Asha Rodriguez. Eugene Rodriguez. Dawn Sanders with enthusiasm. Thank you. Xavier Santiago. Isaac Scott. Russell Schuler. Loretta Sound is Ana Marie Vasquez. I'm sorry, Anne Marie. Jason Villanueva. Excuse. Candy Vives Vasquez. Michelle Wilshire Clement, I am totally here. Jordan Wright. And Jason Wu.
Thank you, everyone. One quick announcement. CB11's next full board meeting will be held on December 19th, 2023 in the Goldworm Auditorium, Mount Sinai School of Medicine, 1425 Madison Avenue. Hope to see you guys here at the Public Safety Conference and the tree lighting and all the fun events. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.